Hello and welcome to Five Keys to Thrive by Women Thrive Media. I'm so excited to have you here for another incredible show and interview with one of our amazing guests. I'm excited to talk today with my guest because we're talking about building your emotional resilience. And we're going to find out just why it is so important for you to do that, for you to have that. And as a mom of soon to be two, I definitely know that sometimes emotions can get better of us. So if you are interested in this topic, do make sure you tune in till the end because we might be sharing something really, really juicy. Now, before we begin, I want to say hi to my wonderful guest, Pia Ault. Hi, Pia. How are you?
Hi, Raimonda. I'm very good, thank you.
Where are you joining from?
I'm joining from south of Spain. I'm in a small fishing village called La Cala de Mijas between Marbella and Malaga.
Oh, amazing. Well, I live in Spain myself, as you know, and
So you know
this,
what, yeah, we know we live a privileged, I'm so grateful, very privileged life
yeah.
and slower pace and more quality.
And originally, where are you from? I know this was not always your home.
No, it wasn't. My original home was Copenhagen, Denmark, but I feel like I've lived all over the world. We've literally moved a lot. I've lived and studied and worked in the US, and work has taken us back to Denmark, then to the UK, then to Dubai for 12 years,
Wow.
and now to Spain where we've lived for 5 years. And I think that's going to be our permanent sort of for now. For now, I think I'll never say never, but yeah, we're here. We're here for now.
I love it. I love it. And, just being global citizen, and I'm sure you have a lot of wisdom to share just from that alone. Pia, today we're talking about emotional resilience, and I'll give an official introduction of who you are in a moment. But why do you think this is an important topic today?
For one reason, when we say emotional resilience, and the word that you need to pay attention to is really in the emotion, right? So emotions are behind everything we do. It's
Mhm.
something that we don't control, we don't manage, we just try to navigate. And so having more resilience, having more awareness about why our emotions are coming up in different situations is going to arm you with an ability to navigate work, navigate communities, social relationships, marriage, parenthood. It really is grounded in how we deal with our emotions.
Yeah.
Emotions are not something we can avoid.
And
So that's why
I
it's important.
I'm curious about word resilience. Why do we need to be resilient as opposed to any other word around emotions?
That's a great question. Resilience really is all about what is required to continue to be working with people and things and situations. We're constantly making decisions that need to align with our personal model of how we arm ourselves against things that are a challenge. We When you say resilience, it means that there is something that we have to overcome.
Mm.
Well, how do we overcome that without falling apart in every conflict, in every situation that we feel overwhelmed in? So, it's not like you want to armor yourself to the point where nobody can get in. You don't want to become unhuman. But emotional resilience, especially when we talk about resilience, is to have that ability to be able to resist, navigate, overcome uncertainties, challenges, anything that life throws at us. It's like a way to make us stronger without walling ourselves in,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah, I understand that. I think some people, and not everyone, but some people definitely shy away from this, even whole conversation around emotions for different reasons, I guess. One, because we have never been taught this thing that we live with day in and day out of managing our emotions. So
Yeah.
it's not generally a conversation that comes up. Yet we all have it and we all use it on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it doesn't, I think people in general, I'm talking in general, but I mean, I work with a lot of clients it doesn't matter if it's a CEO or a mother of three or a student who's going through their master's degree or whatever. People in general shy away from emotions because they haven't been taught how to deal with them from their role models. Most likely their parents, their teachers, family members. And so if they don't have a role model or someone who's said that it's okay to respond to your emotions, it's okay to feel them, it's okay to welcome them, which most of us haven't, right? Then we're going to be conditioned to try to avoid them or suppress them. And so that's what's happening. And so then we of course don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Well, before we dive in into the 5 keys of building emotional resilience, I want to officially introduce my guest today. So, Pia Ault is transformation and empowerment coach with 14 years of experience as an expert in social and emotional intelligence, empowering individuals through the language of emotions and also horse assisted coaching, which is absolutely phenomenal. And then through her deep work, into emotions and empathy, Pia helps individuals identify and expand their emotional vocabulary, express themselves, and live their lives with emotions more healthily. Pia, great to have you here today. And as an expert on this topic, I think it's a great conversation to explore, especially for those who are looking to build more resilience around emotions. So let's dive right in. I'd love to hear some of your the 5 keys to building emotional resilience.
Yeah, well, so my 5 keys or my 5 guidelines is around, especially around how to develop and maintain emotional resilience, is to first of all manage expectations of
Mm,
yourself and of others. And then also looking into how you develop the effort. You know, what are the crucial elements in the effort of developing the resilience? Then, what I spoke about before, navigating the challenges, so that's number 3. And to also learn from your failures, learn from the setbacks, learn from the fact that nothing will ever necessarily be or need to be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be perfect.
yeah. So
Um,
why don't we dive in one by one? So let's cover
okay.
the
All
first
right.
step a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Okay. So managing expectations and why is that important? That all really has to start with your self-awareness. Self-awareness is necessary for any type of resilience, including emotional resilience, because we need to be able to understand our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors, how we show up. So that includes everything that when I work with my clients and I teach my students in emotional intelligence, I usually have a picture of an iceberg. If you can imagine just now an iceberg and you're seeing the top and it's maybe this big, but what's below the surface of this iceberg and what people don't necessarily see or what we are not consciously aware of all the time is our beliefs, our values, our goals, all of our skills, everything we've learned, all of our thought patterns, our behaviors, our emotional states, and some of the things we don't want others to see. Maybe even some of the things that we don't want to acknowledge to ourselves.
Yeah.
That's all below the surface.
Yeah.
All has to do with self-awareness. So that's the biggest part in managing expectations. What do we want people to see? What do we need people to see? What do we need to understand about ourselves? So that's a big first step in building the emotional resilience, that of managing expectations, our own and our and others.
Yeah.
Also perspective taking, which you can look at something from one point of view and one perspective, but that doesn't mean that there aren't maybe 5 or 6 different options or angles to look at ourselves in to get that sense of calm in stressful times,
Yeah.
right? So you can argue, why would we even need to build emotional resilience? Well, like I said before, because when we need to go through a difficult situation or a stressful time with our with ourselves or with others, having that resilience to get through it, to work through the challenge is really important. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. What is the next step or step number two in building
Step
emotional
number
resilience?
two is I call it embracing the effort. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you don't have that gumshoe to kind of be able to take the action, look at what the emotion is doing, what is it asking of you, what message is it bringing you? Are we a do it now action person, or would we rather wait? Or are we procrastinators? So it's about that effort we put into it. So creating an effort in taking a step forward, and also understanding that sometimes we don't need to be attached to the outcome. We can say, I know when enough is enough. I know when good enough is good enough. And just having that ability to say, I don't need to be perfect, but I'm going to put the effort in. I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to build this resilience, and I'm going to make this much effort. And when I get there, it'll be good enough. It doesn't need to be perfect.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. In the end of the day, it's like day by day. You can take it day by day and just managing it without trying to, what is perfect anyway, is just knowing that this time you dealt with that particular situation in a different way that
Yeah.
you feel happy about.
Yeah.
Amazing. What's the next step?
The next one is number three, which I was mentioning. It's navigating the challenges.
Mm,
Look, we live in a world where changes are we are bombarded by changes. We are bombarded by challenges, by uncertainty, war, economic mayhem with tariffs. And, we don't need to get political to understand that it's coming from everywhere. And it's not going to stop. Even when the wars stop, there'll be other challenges. So being able to navigate challenges and having a desirable outcome that's acceptable to you, and that it's okay to sit with uncertainty. It's okay to sit with what's coming ahead. Well, yeah, it's scary because humans don't sit with uncertainty very well, right? We're crystal ball so we can prepare. But being able to navigate what's coming at us is one of the real keys to building emotional resilience. And also, one, by the way, I use a lot in my horse assisted coaching, because horses, they they don't have that ability to plan ahead. They just live in the moment. They're all about survival. So, why we have that need for, I need to know what's going to happen a month from now. That doesn't exist in a horse's mind. So that's why they can teach us so much about navigating challenges and sitting with uncertainty. They're just in the here and now.
yeah, I love that. It's so important, especially when we are dealing with a particular situation. It's not about what happened yesterday or what your brain might be telling you, oh, this is what's going to happen if we do this. It's the here and now. And I find that very powerful to be in the present moment when I'm dealing, let's say, with my daughter, and just knowing that she may have big emotions, but it's just about the here and now, and just allow her the space to help her navigate through it as well. And sometimes if you don't make a big deal or if you don't create a big reaction, actually kind of just smooths over and it's okay. But sometimes when we have big reactions to big emotions, it creates not the best outcome.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly how, I mean, one of the biggest things I learned when I started to work with the horses in this, in the coaching and in the emotional intelligence realm, was to try to think like a horse. If there's if there's the smell of smoke, I mean, are we dealing with a forest fire that's out of control, or is it simply just the neighbor next door that's barbecuing a hot dog, right? So horse herds have that ability to assess, do we need to run and get everybody together and let's run to safety, or can we simply just say, oh, it's just a barbecue. We don't need to exert the energy. Because think about how much energy we spend as humans to try to discern what should we do? Oh my God, what's going on? It's a forest fire. Do we need to run? Do we need to hide? Do we need to evacuate? We spend so much energy in trying to just figure out what's going on. So that's a huge learning point from the horses.
Yeah, amazing. Well, we've got two more keys.
Got two
So
more
let's
keys.
dive in.
So yeah, so once you get yourself through, navigating all of this, it's not all going to work out. So how can we learn from failures?
Mm,
When things go wrong, take the lessons that you can take. Don't be attached to the outcome needing to be perfect. Don't overanalyze if you could have done things differently, which is what humans are really good at doing. Oh, shoulda, coulda, would have. There are so many lessons to be learned when things don't go right, right?
mm,
Because if they went right and everything was hunky dory, we would just be going, oh, well, great. I know how to do that. But then when we fall on our face, we're not prepared. So don't overanalyze, don't judge, don't think that you should have or could have or would have done it differently. Just acknowledge, hey, this didn't work out. Crap. Okay, let me try another way.
yeah,
So learning from failures really is very important for you to go forward.
I love that. And failures, I love that. I don't call it failures. I call it like stepping stones to success and opportunity for you to find a better way. And like you say, if we don't face challenges, we don't learn anything. So just embracing those.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just build on that, improve on that. You don't want to avoid future failures because then you'd be spending all your energy on trying to set up a perfect network or
Mm.
framework to avoid it, which you don't really always have any control over. But if you really just say, "Hey, this is a learning point, teaching moment, gonna take that on. I'll do it
Yeah,
differently the next time."
yeah. Amazing. Well, we've got one more key.
One more is the most important. Celebrate your successes.
Yeah.
I know that's one of the things you have always, you're preaching this in Women Thrive, in the summit, really motivating ourselves to keep building the resilience is to also celebrate when we have wins, even if they're small, and being able to move ahead, move
Yeah.
forward is also about kind of giving yourself a pat on the shoulder and saying, I did a good job with
Yeah.
this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
feel
do
and
that.
feel proud.
Yeah, I do that. I mean, not always because we sometimes just forget it becomes our new normal. But I actually do that again with my daughter. Just the closest example that I can talk about when we have had a good day, or like let's say yesterday we traveled, and in travel there's a lot of tiredness and big emotions. And I always tell her, like, I'm so proud of you, how you navigated that. And again, I think it doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're dealing with children or whether you're navigating your life at a later stage, or there's also stages in life. But I think just, again, being self-aware, and sometimes you acting out of character because emotions come up. And again, just knowing it's like, okay, I've gone through that successfully. That was kind of a point where I usually find myself getting out of hand or getting upset or, getting emotional about something,
Yeah.
and just kind of just recognizing that you've navigated something successfully. I think it gives you a lot more confidence and courage to say,
Yeah.
we can do this again.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I don't want to put any kind of gender bias in any way, but as women, we tend not to be as good as men in tooting our own horn and celebrating and saying, wow, I did this. And I'm not sure why. I would have to go in and study a little bit more social psychology around that. But it is curious that, we are more like, yeah, I know I did that and I'm proud of it, but
Yeah.
no need to make a big deal out of it, right? No, celebrate. acknowledge that you've done this. And it's a big thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely. Like, I can definitely vouch for that. Being pregnant and trying to deal with your emotions, it's like,
Yeah,
um,
I'm sure.
yeah. Sometimes at the end of the day, I lay back in my bed and think, "You've done well today.
Yeah,
You've navigated it well." So
yeah, yeah,
amazing.
absolutely.
So, Pia, how do you usually work with people? I mean, I know you work with horse assisted coaching and also you're doing stuff online. So, how do you usually work with people?
I do most of my work is one-to-one coaching, so
Mhm.
confidential private coaching. And I also do team coaching because sometimes it's more than one person and it could be a
Yeah,
couple or it could be a family or it could be a team. But the majority of my work is online. And so I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I have a website. I do, when I can, engage in horse assisted coaching and horse assisted learning with live horses. And I can come to where the client is at. They don't have to come to me to work with my horse necessarily. I can also work, I have network peers all over the world where we at stables and farms and ranches where we can do this work. So yeah, very accessible.
amazing. That's very, very exciting. And I know sometimes you offer something kind of bespoke depending if you have very specific needs. And how do you find that the work you've done has transformed some of the people's lives that you personally worked with?
Um, a, a couple of different venues. Obviously, whenever I work with somebody on a one-to-one basis in coaching, there's constant transformation throughout the sessions. But even in one session with the horse, there could be huge transformation in just 30, 40 minutes. I mean,
Mm.
there's a special connection that happens even within a minute or two of the client standing with the horse or just engaging with the
Yeah.
horse. Whether that's observing, doesn't have to be touching the horse, just observing, becoming self-aware of the client's behavior versus the horse behavior. So that whole that whole engagement is very powerful. But transformation can also be over a long period of time of just coaching, but it can also be very fast in just a one-to-one session, online or with the horse
Yeah.
live.
And do you find that people come to you with a specific problem or
That's
desire?
an well, this is an interesting question because most of my clients will come with an issue, they'll come with a challenge and say, I really want coaching around being more showing up more, more courageously, or being better at communicating, or setting better boundaries, or navigating issues with my parents who are aging. How do I help them? We rarely limit the coaching to that one issue. Other stuff starts to come up. And so it's like sort of organically wants to come out when we start to,
Yeah.
confidentially dig in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when, like they say, when you're ready for the teacher, is it when you're ready for learning, the teacher will appear. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's really finding the right
You know,
person.
be careful what you ask for because if you're asking for specific help on something, there's going to be maybe other things that unravel. Not in a bad way, but you're starting to peel back the onion, and the more self-aware you become, the more you're realizing, oh, and I've got this going on, and oh my God, yeah, what you just told me that triggered this, or that brought up this, and that resonates with that. So it's I don't think I've ever planned a session like we're going to go through it because what wants to come up comes up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really
That makes
powerful. I
sense.
think
Yeah. Yeah.
when you're ready to do that inner work, and it starts to touch many lives. You know, as you mentioned, some people might be coming for issue at work or their relationships, but actually, when you start to do this kind of work, it starts to affect all areas of your life. So it's really, really powerful. Pia, how
Yeah.
do people connect with? Where is the best place for them to find you?
A couple of places. I am very active on Facebook, but I also realize that people are bombarded with ads and messages. But I am on Facebook. Pia Ault Coaching is my professional page, and then Pia Ault is my personal Facebook page. I'm also on LinkedIn, and I like LinkedIn because that's sort of a professional network, and that's also where people go to find a coach, perhaps. So Pia Ault on LinkedIn, and then my website, you can actually read more about me and my horse. It's www.caballus, Caballus, consulting.com. And you are also able to book a half-hour free exploration call with me just to explore what it is you need and whether I'm the right coach for you.
Yeah, amazing. Pia, this has been really wonderful, and I hope it's served our audience who are looking to build more emotional resilience in their lives.
I hope so. Thank you for having me on.
To all of our listeners, I hope you have enjoyed this show today. Make sure you tap into other shows available on Women Thrive TV. If you have enjoyed it, make sure you share it with others or leave a comment underneath this video to leave some feedback for Pia. We'll also be coming back to check out your comments or answer any questions that you may have had for our guest today. So do make sure you engage. And thank you so much for tapping in, and we look forward to seeing you on another episode. Take care for now.